Hey, yo, CC here, just giving you an update on how I keep to my routines and keep to my daily life in order, what kind of things work, what kind of things don't, in order to help me with my ADHD, with my weight maintenance, and also with different comorbidities that sometimes come along with it. So here we go. Um, I am still stalling perfectly fine. I looked it up and I had forgotten some very, very, very key important things about weight loss that just really, really matter, and I thought I'd share them with you. Now, I have ADHD, not autism, so if you want to look it up and find out the specifics, I encourage you to go read the same articles or use AI, whatever. I personally think if you use AI responsibly and you're using it to make cuts in other places of energy, such as you're spending less money on food or something, all those things can actually help, benefit embodied energy, but that's just my personal opinion. Feel free to use Google. Or you can just trust me. It turns out metabolism has a big deal to do with weight loss and weight management. And they did a study, and everybody was all surprised to find out that people who were very, very overweight actually had much higher metabolisms than people who were very, very underweight. And there's an absolute reason for that. Your body adjusts to the amount of calories that you intake in order to process them, right? So people who take in a massive amount of calories have to have super high speed metabolisms in order to burn through those calories through the day. Otherwise, they would get sepsis. They would have all sorts of other problems, would massively be interrupted, right? And so when you first start losing weight, if you are cutting calories, which typically that's the easiest way to start losing weight, you're kind of fighting against the system. When you eat less calories, fewer calories, your body will actually compensate by needing fewer calories to burn. Your body will compensate even if you start doing exercise and stuff like that by being lazier at other times of the day and burning fewer calories. So that 300 extra calories you burned, oh, that's okay. You made up for it by sitting on your butt 200 calories later. You don't even know what activity you're doing. You just considered it resting. And that's all perfectly fine, good, normal weight loss stuff, actually, as it turns out. Now, that sounds horrible, right? You're like, okay, well then how am I supposed to lose it? Well, some people do it the cardio queen route. And that is, you just do massive cardio and cuts until that equalizes out and stabilizes you at a nice low weight. That's what we call a cut. And I've been mostly focusing on that. However, unless I want to keep increasing my cardio or keep decreasing my calories drastically over time, that's going to balance itself out and it's going to let that water level. Now, how do we trick that? There are a couple different ways. Well, first off, I've been doing my morning fast. Now, granted, that actually isn't enough to trick your body into burning fewer calories. It's not quite the same thing. I'm not going to do anything to really increase that, but I am going to give myself something to nosh on in my little Stanley that I got here. I have my tea from Trader Joe's, and I added a scoop of marine collagen into it. That just gives me like 10 grams of protein in the morning, and honestly, it's like skincare protein. It's not even like muscle repair protein because it's marine collagen. And so that just gives my skin a boost and my body something to munch on. Also, when we get away from the cardio and we start doing things that build muscle is going to be something that burns more fat, keeps your metabolism higher. That's going to have the same effect as eating more calories. So I'm definitely going to start working on making sure that even though I've been so consistent about my cardio, it's been like 28 days I've been doing all 10,000 steps. Yay for me for consistency. But it's time to take a next step in a next direction, deciding on how I want to go. I've done the cardio queen route. It was actually, I was doing a study where I could only afford to eat like 1,100 calories a day. It was like a budgeting study that I was doing. And the thing about that is I got down to 133 pounds, and I was walking somewhere around 6 to 8 miles a day. And that's a lot, you know what I mean? That was a committed, dedicated time to just losing weight. But I'll tell you right now, it didn't have me looking like the best I've ever looked in my life. Actually, people were freaking out around me. I looked absolutely gaunt. This was for a project that I was doing. So, I mean, it included doing, 3 to 5 day fasting and stuff for different reasons and stuff like that, just to kind of prove a point. I was kind of proving a point about the budgeting itself and what people could do to survive if they were unable to keep their food in any way, so they just had to like eat what they could afford right then and not go to fast food and stuff. So it was really, really interesting. But I definitely lost a lot of what I would call unhealthy weight. By the end of it, I could barely afford enough protein for my diet, so my muscles were depleted to the point where it hurt to sit down. And all of my clothes, I weighed less than I did in junior high. All of my curves, every single womanly feature had basically just like eroded off of me. It has since spring back, thank you. But just everything. It was actually, it was a little bit overboard on top of everything, but I wasn't actually trying to do that. I was eating 3 squares a day. It was just for the project's sake. I just wanted to see, what would happen in that instance. And yeah, you do lose weight, but I don't want to choose to lose weight exactly that way. I do actually still want to get down to somewhere in the 140 to 145 range. I actually like myself right about there. And I want it to be with muscle. So I'm definitely just really, really focusing now. As much as I still want to get my 10,000 steps, I want to realize that my next step has to be increasing muscles. Like if my muscles aren't feeling a little bit worked by the end of the day, I probably didn't do enough calisthenics, enough yoga. If I'm too sore, I probably did too much. So I got to play that little balancing act. I'm going to try to make sure that I'm getting that done about 3 times a week, because otherwise this is where I would say ADHD and diets come to die. It's like the graveyard. I lost 10 pounds. I'm trying to I could do other little minor cuts, but as long as my body keeps playing this game with me, that's going to eventually frustrate my little ADHD gremlin, and it's just going to throw the cup against the wall and quit. And so we're not going to abide by that. We're going to see every single thing as a reason to do research, to recalculate, to restructure, and to keep going and to keep progressing. Speaking of moving onward and upward, I am definitely also trying to kind of squeeze towards the quitting of the weed thing. I don't really think it's causing me to gain weight, but it's definitely just not something I want to deal with. I don't really want to deal with quitting weed and losing weight at the same time, but what I can do while I'm losing weight is taper back. I've been doing, I'll bring it with me for hikes or for walks or something, and it's like, I'm kind of getting to the point where the walk itself is the buzz, you know what I mean? Getting out into nature it's like, it's not really something I need to have with me. I don't need to be smoking in the mountains on my hiking trails and stuff like that. So I'm going to start by saying that, and just no leaving the house with it. And then, after that, I'll probably say no smoking it when I wake up in the morning, even on the weekends or something, because I just feel like it's not really something that I've been using to medicate anymore. It used to be, but I feel like anymore it's just like a ticky-tick habit thing that I just need to nip, So in the mornings I'm going to try to say no more of that, and then at the end of that, that'll just have me smoking in the afternoons, and I feel like that'll be easy to just kind of cut out at that point, just because it's really not that addictive to me, and at that point hopefully I'll be so turned on by the activities that I replace it with that I'm just not really looking forward to spending time or money or lung strength or just anything on smoking weed. It's just not been serving me the same way that I've needed it to serve me before. I've been working on another project that I've been pretty silent about helping manage stress disorders and regulation and stuff like that, and I've been working on that project for about 2 years, and all these kind of studies sort of come together, and I'm excited to say that I'm working up a book series that I will be putting in PDF file and also making for free, when I do publish it. I'm not trying to get any kind of strange credit for it. I think if you do read the PDF files, you read the books, you're going to realize that it's definitely in line with other contextual things that you've heard before. I'm just basically stating it and restating it in a way that it finally kind of locked in and came through for me in order to help me manage myself without needing things like marijuana to keep myself calm. So of course, onward and upward always, guys. And I'm looking forward to those next steps. Also, I don't feel like at the end of a road. I feel like I'm just actually starting and just getting revved up. That was barely a warm-up these last 28 days. Cheers.